When Allan Johnson asked his dying father where he wanted his ashes to be placed, his father replied, without hesitation, that it made no difference to him at all. Ultimately troubled by this response, Johnson set off on a 2,000-mile journey across the upper Midwest to find the place where his father's ashes belonged. But along the way, Allan came to question where it is that he belongs. With me today from his home in Connecticut to discuss this journey, the questions it posed, and the answers it yielded, is Allan Johnson. To bury your father's ashes. I've set it up a bit, but can you tell us a bit more about how that story evolved?
I asked him several years before he died, at the ripe age of 93, almost accidentally, just where do you want to have your ashes placed? And he didn't take any time to think about it. He shrugged and he said, I don't care. It doesn't make any difference to me at all. And at the time, that didn't strike me as somehow a problem. But then years went by and I still had his ashes sitting in this box in my house and increasingly felt I have to do something with them. And then discovered that I had no idea, in the absence of guidance from him, what to do with them. And so that put it in my mind that I couldn't get it out. And then the longer it was in my mind, the more the question came in alongside it, which is, well, where would I belong? When I die, what do I tell my kids to do with me? So I picked the only route that made any sense, which was starting with his late childhood, high school years, which was in South Dakota, and then going backwards in time. But what I encountered by taking this almost 2,000-mile journey was that there's a kind of belonging, a sense of being from somewhere that I had never even thought of before, which is in relation to land. And it's in relation to belonging to a people, an identifiable people, whose identity is in part bound with a particular place, a particular piece of land. I mean, by land, I don't mean just, America, the land of whatever. I mean, those mountains over there, these plains here, this river, that kind of identification. I'm like anybody else. I want to feel good about my ancestors because in some ways, I see myself as an extension of them. So I want to feel proud of them, for example. I want to think that they were good people. I can imagine that they were. Mm-hmm. But the fact is that their lives, if only their silence, their complicity in what was happening in the United States, their lives are bound up with some horror. And as an American, I have to see how I am connected to all of that. Because if I'm not connected to all of that, then it doesn't mean anything to say that I am an American. So on the one hand, yes, I don't feel guilty. I don't feel ashamed about any of that history. I don't feel ashamed of my ancestors. But as an American citizen, I also feel an obligation to be responsible to that past. So I feel an obligation to those events, to that history, to the whole story of this country. And I also feel a sense of obligation to my ancestors, to do what I can in the present time to, if you will, to make it right, or to help to make it right, what was done then.
For Allan Johnson, I'm Peter Bermudes for Arlington Public News.